Hey, friends. So we're back with another edition of Supporting Local. Today I am talking to Kevin Miller, who is, I want to say, if you're not following him on Instagram, definitely pause the video right now. Go look up, wait, look up Blerdsunderground, then pause the video, go follow them, and then come back on here. Because Kevin, it's funny because we've been following each other for a while. We've never met, but I love like watching the stuff that he puts up on Instagram, especially like the new comic book days, because like he always watching those videos lets me know, pitch me on stuff that I want to check out. But before we get onto all of that stuff, Kevin, give us a quick introduction of who you are, what you do with Blurs Underground, and then we'll go from there.
All right, yeah, I can do that. First of all, thanks for having me. It has been a long time coming, man. We're always it seems like we occupy the same space, but never at the same time. It's kind of driving me crazy. So it's nice to finally link up, man. But yeah, man, I'm Kevin. I am the store manager out here in LaGrange at Blur's Underground Comics and Collectibles. We are in our third year of operation. We are right in the middle of downtown LaGrange. We are steps from the LaGrange Metro stop. You can't miss us. We're a small shop, but we do pack a punch. Like I said, we've been here for 3 years now, three going on four. We have a very supportive clientele and subscriber base out here. They've been supportive since day one. We appreciate and thank all of them for that. But we're always looking for new members. You know what I mean? So check us out. You can check us out online. You can check out our website. You can find us on Facebook. You can find us on Instagram. It's Blurds Underground. Blurds Underground. Check us out. Give us a follow.
Definitely, guys. Look them up. One of the things that I have noticed about the store is that you guys do a lot of in stores, and then so you guys got a lot of artists coming through the store. So first of all, how did you get hook up with like some of these artists to come through your store, and then also like how does it feel to have these artists come there and support? Because you're basically like an independent comic book store like that, to come out there and do these things with you guys.
Yeah, we are one of the smaller shops. We don't have multiple locations. You won't find us outside of Illinois. And even like I said, the store space itself is very small, but we do pack a punch, and it feels good. It feels good to make connections with local creators, whether they be artists, writers. It feels good to be able to make that connection. Number one, and then number two, help each other out. You know what I mean? It's a very small community, and so you want to make a difference. You know what I mean? There are artists. Chicago's a hotbed. Chicago is a hotbed for creative talent. It's insane. From writers to artists and fine artists, it's all over the place. And so we have made an effort to kind of reach out and run the gamut. Some of the other larger, more known names to some of the names that people might not have heard of, but we think need to be out there. We think you should hear their names. We think you should see their work. We establish those types of relationships. At shows that we do. At shows that we attend. From word of mouth, even. You know what I mean? We have a few creators that are subscribers here, so I mean they shop here with us. So it makes it that much. When a creator's coming in to buy books from you, it makes it like they want to support the shop. Well, guess what? And vice versa. We want to do the same thing. We want to do the same thing. Like we have your work on the shelf. We want to give you an audience. Some of them are local as LaGrange and some of the surrounding suburban areas, but some of them travel. You know what I mean, and they're aware of us, or they rock with us because of word of mouth. You know what I mean, and so that's been very important in establishing relationships with creators and to kind of stir up a little buzz to get them to say, hey, you know what, I do have a couple of hours on a Saturday to go and showcase my work to LaGrange and whoever else comes through that door.
Yeah, and it's like you said, it's a dope thing to have them know you, and then also reaching out and trying to wanting to go out there. I know we have like Uncle Rafi is like someone that we have in common. So I remember he was out there, and I was like, I gotta try to make it out there. I am gonna go out there one of these days. When I have like no like activities with my kids on the weekend, I definitely got to go out to the store and check it out. But
Yeah,
also,
he's a regular. He's one of our regulars. You know what I mean? He's got a folder here. You know what I mean? So it's not. I see him here. I see him on the train. I see him in other stores. Like I've adopted him. I've adopted him as my uncle for real. Like that's my uncle. When he comes through this door, when he walks through the door, I'll yell, "Hey, is that my uncle?" Like we love him, man.
Yeah, he's great. I'm hoping to have him on. I mean, I reached out to him, so we're trying to find a date.
Awesome.
But I also too, like I know that, like I said, like we said before, like we follow each other online, but we finally met at was it Fan Expo last was it Fan Expo last year? It was like first time we met because you do
Yeah.
a lot of volunteering at a lot of these expos, which I think is kind of cool. Is by doing the volunteering because you're usually working with like certain artists throughout the day. Is that also like a way that you kind of like I guess you could say recruit artists to come through your store, or is it like you just like casually mention it? Hey, I got a store if you're ever free.
No, I mean, that's kind of at least for me. Doing shows and working conventions is the grassroots of it for me. I did my the first show that I worked that I was on staff for was the very last Wizard in Rosemont. So right before Wizard became Fan Expo, that was my first show, and I was on staff there. And from the first show that I've worked to the last one, whenever whether it be a local show or something that I'm traveling for, I always have a stack of business cards on me. You know what I mean? I'm not aggressive. I'm not aggressive with it at the table, like but I do try to make sure that I make the creator aware, that hey, this is a retail shop that that's into you. You know what I mean? That's into your work. Like we have you on our shelf, or I myself am reading the run of whatever it is you're writing or that you're drawing. Right now. So I always have business cards on me to make sure that any creator that I work with or even come across in passing, what I mean, is aware. A lot of the creators that I've encountered are, they may live somewhere else now, but a lot of them are from Chicago. You know what I mean? Like I said, it's such a hotbed here, not just the talent that's here, but the talent tied to it. But I mean, like I said, working the shows is how, essentially how I made it to what I'm doing today. I wanted I wanted to go, but I didn't want to pay. I wanted to hit the con floor, but I didn't want to pay, right? So I just looked up, the staff application, the crew application. So I was just, I was working local shows, working in Artist Alley, working panel rooms, working autograph lines, for convention staff. And then in maybe August of 23, I got approached after working my staff shift that weekend. I got approached by Comic Sketch Art to be an independent contractor and travel with them, and that's what I'm doing now. So I am on and off of planes. It's awesome. I appreciate them. I love them. Big shout out to them for the opportunity, because as soon as I started doing local shows, my mind went to the next step. Like, okay, well, now I want to go to a show that's not here. And so, in doing some of the planning for that, I was like, yo, that's actually a pretty big undertaking. Like, I don't know how I'm going to work in an out of state show. Like, I'm going to have to actually, uh, but they asked me to travel with them, and I'm one of the leads for them now. So I'm training I'm training some of the newbies. It's really cool. It's an awesome opportunity. I love it.
That's dope because I didn't know that. I didn't know. I thought it was just like you were just like driving to different places volunteering. But I mean,
No,
by
no,
doing
I was
something like that,
working.
that's
I was
awesome.
working. Yeah, like I said, I was working the line for Frank Miller, and at the end of that weekend, they were just like, "Yo, we thought you were awesome. Do is there a chance you might want, you might be interested in traveling with us?" And I said, "Absolutely." And that was Fan Expo 23. So that was August. So then October, my first show with them was New York Comic Con. So they believe in baptism by fire. Let me tell you, they threw me. It was from the frying pan straight into the fire, man. I was in New York with Jeff Johns and Gary Frank, Brad Anderson, Jason Fabach, Francis Manipal. Like it was straight up deep end. Um, and then my second show with them was San Diego.
Nice.
And here we are, 2025, and we're 3 months in, and I'm on the verge of my third show. So I'm averaging a show a month.
Nice, nice. So yeah, so that's something good to someone that's watching that does volunteering. You never know if if you
Yeah,
take it seriously, and if you're one of the people that are like without attitude when someone asks you a question and just be helpful. You never know what it could lead. You could be on a plane sitting next to Kevin going to the next con. That's pretty dope,
Yeah,
though.
yeah, yeah. Wake me up when we get there, man. Wake me up when we get there. But that's it. That's I just like I said, I took a few shifts. You take a
Uh-huh.
few shifts, and now you got your badge. You got access to the show. So it was two birds with one stone. I get to go to the show, and you're gonna pay me.
Yeah, that's what I'm about to say too. You get paid to doing this, so that's a good thing.
Yeah. So that's what started it all, man. And so, like I said, now in addition to traveling and being a comic wrangler with them, I'm managing the shop too. We're in our, like I said, we're in our third year, and I mean, we've hit highs and we've hit lows, but I mean, we're still here. Our fan base is still coming in. We've got our subscribers that come in, and we got to put them out. Like, hey, man, we've been closed for a half an hour. You got to go.
Yep.
But it's just that's how we get down. Though, like we do you know, we try to create a vibe here.
Yeah.
The doors will open, to any and everyone. You know what I mean? To come in and just be a kid again. Just come in and nerd out with us.
Yeah. Yeah. I kind of I miss that. Like when I worked at a bookstore, and then when I worked at GameStop, we would have the regulars that just come in to hang out. And it was
Yeah,
always just great, just just shooting the breeze about what's coming out that we're reading or games that we're playing. And then yeah, I missed that in my local comic book store because I used to have one where the comic book guy that worked there was basically the comic book guy. Like he's like, if you're not buying nothing, you're leaving. And I'm like, no, I'm picking up some books. But while
yeah,
I'm here, what do you think about this? And he'll be like, all right, well, let me tell you. And then he'll just get into his. So after a while, he was cool, but for most people, he was just like, what do you want?
yeah,
So
yeah. There's no hanging out here. Buy something, and you go. Yes, we're not like that, man. That's not the vibe that we have here. We absolutely like we want to hang out. We want, because for the most part, we're all in the same boat. Like we're into something that the baseline of our family and friends probably aren't into. You know
right.
what I mean? So
Yeah.
you're at home just geeking out by yourself, or you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
we have our regulars, they come in and they get their books and they're happy to get them. We get to talking about them. A half an hour goes by, another customer comes in. Now it's three of us, and it builds, you know what I mean? But before you know it, we're all in here. We're having a good time. Nobody wants to go home. Nobody wants to go home. And I mean, that's cool. Like, what do they say? They say if you do, what you love, then it never feels like work. And it doesn't ever feel like work.
Yeah. That's awesome. That's
There's a
awesome.
lot of it involved, but you don't feel it until, the end of the night, till you make it in and you finally sit down.
All right. So being that you're basically you're owning a shop, what was the one comic, I guess, when that you first saw that you were like, this is what I want to, this is my passion now. I'm gonna get into comic books. What was the one book that got you hooked?
Oh man. That's actually it was The Crow. It was so needless to say the original is my
Mhm,
favorite movie. Um but as a gift for Father's Day a few years ago, um what is it 2025, so 5 years ago. Um for Father's Day, I got a hardcore special edition graphic novel of The Crow by James O'Barr. And like I said, the movie is my favorite, but I had not read any of the comics. His adaptation, which is the original, or any after that. So I read it, and right after I closed, I guess mind you, it's hardcover, and it's James O'Barr. It's masterful. So in any case, I close it, and after I closed it, I sat there for a minute, and uh, that was it. That was the moment. I was like, you know what? I think I want to get back into collecting comics. I hadn't done such since I was a kid. This is I am absolutely a child all over again. Like I'm a kid in a candy store. My first comic ever was Spawn. That was the first comic I ever bought with my own money, and then subsequently collected. But I lost Spawn and all of that early Image stuff because after Spawn, it was a springboard into Max and Pit, Youngbloods, Wildcats, Shadowhawk, but I lost all that stuff in the basement floor when I was younger, and I stopped collecting. That was it, you know. Um, but after I got through reading The Crow, after I got through reading the James O'Barr special edition hardcover, like I said, I closed that book. I sat there for like 2 minutes, and that was it. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna start collecting again. And like I said, mind you, that was like it's 2025, so this was 5 years ago. And now I'm now I've got a collection of over 2,000 books, and it's out of control. Out of control. It's taken over the basement. Crazy.
Right. Nice. But you read them all though, right? Because I know some people that like they'll buy books and then like after a while it's like it's just sitting there. Because I know I have a stack that I'm trying to get through. I mean, I can look to my right and I
We
can see like the
all
books.
we all have a to be read pile.
Yeah.
Everybody. Everybody has it.
Yeah.
Everybody's got one. It's okay. It's okay. I just, I zero in on, characters, artists that, that are near and dear. And I'll
Uh-huh.
take a week and I'll just plow through, all of it, or, get caught up or read through what I have to figure out what I don't have. That's all about, you being honest with you getting intimate with your collection. You know what I mean? So I do read my book. I cannot say that I've read every single book that I have, but I do read my books. Yes.
Nice. Yeah, it was funny because
We reading over here.
a while back I went to my comic book store and I was scared. I'm like, I haven't gone in like 6 months. I don't know what's waiting for me. And it was like I'm expecting like this much, and it
Yeah.
was like that. Because it was
Yeah.
like a lot of the series ended. So it was
Yeah.
like just like one shot. So I was like, oh, okay, there.
Yeah, and it's funny, that's exactly what I think of too when the series ends. I'm like, "Okay, well, that's coming off of my pull list, so I gotta, it's getting lighter, like,
Yeah,
but we're getting there.
yeah,
We're getting there."
it's getting manageable.
Yeah, yeah, one day. This
Yeah.
light at the end of this tunnel. But it is, like I said, man, we've all got that to be read pile. We all do it, we all do it a different way. That's the glory of it, you know what I
Mhm.
mean? It is what you make it. Sometimes I wake up, and that's where I start my day. I wake up, I'll make coffee, and I'll grab, 2, 3 issues or something.
Nice.
Or, as I'm winding down, and it's later into the evening. Well, I get a little, get a little bourbon to wet my whistle, and then I grab 2, 3 issues or something, and then that's how the day ends.
Nice.
Or sometimes it's in transit, in the airport, on a bus, on a train, just in transit, couple of issues of this, couple of issues of that. But it's like it's fun, man. It's fun. It's always been a way, a window into a world, of the imaginable. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? It's always been, fun. It's always been, escapism.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. When I was younger, my babysitter would get me a stack like that she would buy from the thrift store, and then she let me read those. And yeah, while I sat there and read, I was like traveling to different worlds and whatnot.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, the
and that's
last, oh, I'm sorry.
and again, like it, this was in my youth at least, like this was what springboarded my interest in reading. You know what I mean? If it wasn't for these, I would have had no interest in it. You know what I mean? But comics got involved, and all of a sudden, I'm reading all the time. You know what I mean? And all of a sudden, my allowances at the book fair is gone. You know what I mean? And I got 2 free posters. Like, so I'm balling. I'm balling, and I can read. Like, you know.
Yeah, but
So
it's great that you say that too because John Avina from Avina Comics mentioned that too.
yeah,
Like that's what got
John.
him into reading,
Yep.
just reading comic books. So I mean, there's people that like that shit on the artwork, but I mean, it gets people reading and it gets your mind going, and
Yeah.
you one day you're either publishing your own comic or running a comic book store because of this, because of love
Yeah.
of this.
Yeah. It does it. It reaches. It covers generational gap. You know what I mean? I get to be a big kid. I've got kids, so I get to be a kid with my kids. Like how like who doesn't want to like how fun? How can it not be fun? You know what I mean? My daughter reads her series. I've got my son's a little bit harder. He's in college, but I mean it's still a way for us to connect. There's no way that me and my son don't connect on Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. You know what I mean? Whether he's reading it or not,
Right.
like that's our baseline, it's our ground. So I
Nice.
get to, like I said, I get to be a kid with my kids, and there's no feeling like that.
Yeah. Yeah. For you, were you like I'm gonna I'm gonna have them read these, or was it just like they gradually would pick one up and be like, "Hey, what's this?" Or just you'll just catch them reading one day and then they just started growing from there?
Yeah, it's I've tried both approaches. I remember wanting them to be into it, so I just bring them stuff like, "Hey, look at this, read this," you know. And then you can't necessarily force. You got to let them do their thing. You got to let them come into their own. And as they did that was when I started noticing things like like my daughter will watch Star Wars from sun up to sundown, and that is me. I will do that. Like you don't even have to ask. Like
Yeah,
don't even ask me. Just hit play. You know what I
yeah,
mean? You know how to work the Disney Plus. Hit the play. And then like I said with my son, he's older, so I have to try a little bit harder. But there are instances too where it's like, boom, okay, we could talk about Invincible, or we could talk about,
yeah,
and I get the springboard off of it, instead of just trying to get them to be, it's they have to come into their own. You have to give them that respect. You have to give them that boundary.
yeah.
So like I said, I tried one approach, and then I realized that wasn't working out well. So I took a step back, and then that's when I started to notice, like, hey, you're a nerd too.
That is awesome, man. That because that's
Nerd
it's funny because
too.
like for me, like I'll have like like my figures or whatever around, but I
Yeah,
never was like oh you're gonna love Spider-Man, and then like like little by little, like my daughter would be like, well, who's that character? How does he fit into all this? And it was like, oh, okay, well, let me tell you, and then
yeah,
that's how and it's a great thing like that because like it's you get to nerd out with them, like you were saying, you just sit down and maybe for an hour or two reading a couple books or watching a movie, and then next thing you know, that's that bond that forms over
yeah,
this thing,
yeah,
which is always a great thing to have.
yeah. It's I remember my daughter coming into the store one day, and we had a facsimile on the shelf, and she pointed at it. It was the first thing she noticed when she came in here. She pointed at it, and she goes, "Daddy, that's Jean." And it's because we had been binging the original X-Men animated series, and so it was
Nice.
Dark Phoenix on. There was a facsimile of Dark Phoenix, and I mean, she knew it right away, right away. And I was like, "Oh yes, honey, that is Jean."
You're
You
like,
warm my heart, baby.
yeah, yeah. Here, quick story. W- when my daughter was, I want to say 4 or 5, we
Yeah.
took like one of those surveys, like like, oh, you come downtown and take a survey. So as we were walking, it was like freezing cold. So I had, we had our scarves on, and this lady walked by, and her face was red because she wasn't wearing a mask or scarf or anything. And I told her, I'm like, that's why you got to cover up because if not, you're gonna be red like that. And she's like, she was red like the Red Skull, and I was just like, yeah,
Yes.
you are my kid.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes, baby. Yes, she was. Yeah. It's all of a sudden now it's tugging at your heartstrings. You know what I mean?
yeah. And then like too, like when they come up with like references and stuff like that, it's just like, oh, my work here is done in some way.
Yeah.
There's more I gotta do, but the nerd part is like it's in
Yeah.
there.
Yeah. It's there. Yeah. The seeds have been planted.
Exactly, exactly. Being that you do have like talking about sharing your comics with your kids, and then having comics yourself. Is there one book that's like your holy grail that you haven't got yet, or you're trying to get, or you did get already? What would that book, or what that book was? What was that book of
Oh
yours?
man. That was kind of a focus um for me in 2024. There were like, some grail books, some hit list books that I feel like I've been chasing forever and ever. And I got at least, man, I got at least two. The first one being Luke Cage, first appearance of Luke Cage. I got that Hero for Hire #1. I finally landed that.
Nice.
And then first appearance of Brother Voodoo, Strange Tales 169. So I've got all of the voodoo related Strange Tale appearances, including his first appearance, and that has been something that has really been it's been a top book since I first got back into collecting. And either one or two things would happen. I find it in a low grade with an unreasonable price, or I find it at a high grade that I'm priced out at. You know what I mean? There was like no in between.
Mhm.
But I finally came across one. In fact, shout out to Nick all the way up in Michigan. Uh, Nick had one, and he immediately sent me a photo of it because he knew I'd been hunting the book. And that's the end of that story. It's in my PC. That's like I said, first appearance of Brother Voodoo. I've been after that thing for a while. So that felt good to scratch off the list. That was the most recent one.
Nice.
That was the most recent one, and then the Luke Cage, the Hero for Hire #1, was the one before that. So now I feel like now I want that #1 from the Black Panther series. I need that number. I need that #1 Panther, not first appearance, but like like the first volume one of the Marvel run.
Right.
I
Nice.
think that I think that's going to be the one that I'm. You don't have to tiptoe. It's cool. I am still. I'm in the shop. There are
Yeah,
people here with me. They're just being quiet. I don't know why.
it's funny.
It's not. This is not a library. It's not jail. It's okay, y'all.
Nice. Regulars?
Yeah, no, man. Just the staff, man. I got. Come on. Yep. Yeah, that's your cue. Put your Canadian hat on. Come on down. Ben is dressed up. He's doing his best Canuck impression today. He is. Ben is a Canuck. Sorry, that's not. He's not. It's not a joke. It's not an impression. That's Ben. Zoe
What's
just
up,
came
man?
in through the back door,
Last
and
name
she
Grimm
is
by chance?
rumbling and bumbling up to the front. Here she is, all bundled up. There's Zoe.
Hello.
So yeah, so I'm not just in the store by myself talking to myself. I've got company. I got backup. I got the bodyguards with me today.
Nice, nice. We kind of mentioned about like you always have like in-store signings or whatever at the
Yeah.
store. I saw that you had one recently on February 8th. Was it like the bourbon?
Oh, that
What was
is
that?
we do that's our monthly reoccurring after hours event. It's typically the second Saturday of the month, but that's a rolling. That's tentative.
Uh-huh.
But we have an after hours where folks come. It's not necessarily the door wide open. You do have to purchase a ticket. But we hang out in the store and we drink bourbon and we talk about books that we're reading, or runs that are coming that we're excited about, or the ones that are maybe more obscure and we don't
Mhm.
know that that the word is out there about something, and so this is the opportunity to kind of put it on the table. You know what I mean? We play music, we drink bourbon, we talk about our books. It's an adulting experience. That we've enjoyed thus far. It's been pretty successful. So the first couple that have happened have been pretty successful. So we decided to make it a monthly thing.
Nice, nice.
Sometimes we do feature creators. We'll have artists, we'll have writers. Here sometimes they're featured, sometimes they're just here because they support us. But it's like I said, we've had a really good response to it, and so it's a monthly event now. It's a reoccurring event.
That's awesome. That's awesome to see or to hear about. I did mention the Instagram page earlier. And then one thing, like I said, one thing I like is that every week you post the new comics coming out. So if you're, I want to say, if you haven't gone back into reading comics, check out that page, man. Go follow them because, like I said, every week, like you put out what's coming new, and then you have like a little blurb about what's coming out, so people can, if they have questions, reach out.
Yeah.
What would you recommend right now? Like if someone that's like completely new to or hasn't read comics in a while, and they walk into your store, they're like, "Well, I don't know what to read." What would you recommend for them? What title?
Oh man, there's a lot going on right now, everywhere. Marvel and what they're doing with the Ultimate Universe, DC and what they're doing with the Absolute Universe. Um, the indie scene is flourishing right now. I generally tend to recommend indie books. In fact, the unanimous trade paperback recommendation for the entire store has been Beneath the Trees Where Nobody Sees. It was a single series. Thank you. It was a single series that made it to a trade paperback.
Okay.
It's very deceiving. I'll just say that. I'll say that. It's written by Patrick Horvath. He did a wonderful job. Nobody saw this book coming. It's an absolute gem. Um, it's gotten really good reviews. I've read it myself. I read
Uh-huh.
it in single issue before it went to a trade paperback, And in all honesty, I think it was the third or fourth issue in. I'm yelling at the book at like 3 in the morning in my kitchen. Um, so there's that. Like that happened. That
Right.
happened. But it's really
That
good, man.
sold me
Like I said,
already.
if you man, like if you're getting back into it, it looks real. Like I said, it looks kind of kiddish. You know what I mean? Until you realize that bear is dragging a dead body, and now you have to know more.
Yeah.
If you don't have three questions based on what I just said, like, do you have a pulse? It's really good. I highly recommend. In fact, everyone here, we've never had a unanimous pick before, but
Oh
Beneath the
wow.
Trees That Nobody Sees is it. So we have stocked and replenished it multiple times. We are not joking. It's really good. If you have not read it, you really should.
Okay. I know I've seen that image before of the bag being dragged, but I'm like, I never picked it up. So now I got to go and make sure I get a copy of that.
Yeah, that's a
'Cause-
body in there, man. That's plenty. Like I said, if that doesn't give you three questions, like I have three questions immediately just off looking at this, and that was it. That's how I got sucked in.
Nice. Nice. Um, we are kind of running out of time, unfortunately. But what cons are we going to be able to see you at next?
Uh, oh my God, what day is it?
It's the eighth.
Well, I'll be at Fan Expo Cleveland next month. Uh, and then in April, we'll all be at C2E2. We'll be on the floor at C2 harassing as many people as humanly possible. And then after that, I'm hoping for Fan Expo Philly. Those are probably my next three. But they come fast and they come quick. As I learn about them, I try to throw it out there because I love meeting people from the comic collecting community. I love meeting new members of the club, the Comic Book Fiend Club. Traveling really gives me an opportunity to meet, brothers from other chapters. And that's been awesome because now instead of, going to a show by myself or, showing up, having, just feeling like it's just work, like the club travels with me. You know what I mean? Like
Nice.
I always know I got somebody there. Somebody's gonna come by and be like, "Hey, are you cool? Do you need water? Do you want me to go get you some food?" Like, like
Yeah.
it feels real good.
Right.
Um, but
Wait.
yeah, but
So
like I said, those three, I'll be at Fan Expo Cleveland in March. I'll be at C2 in April, and I should be at Fan Expo Philly in May.
at C2E2, are you guys having a booth or are you going to be volunteering there?
No, no. C2, let me tell you, brother, C2 is the one con that I do not work. So I'm an attendee.
Nice.
Um, at least for the last 2 years. 2023 and 24, I was able to attend off of a pro badge we're a retail store.
Nice.
We have not tabled. We usually don't table at C2, but we are there, just kind of linking up, networking, handing out those cards, digging through some boxes, getting some signatures, like I said, harassing people in Artist Alley. Like it's the one that I get to enjoy, you
Nice.
know, like
Nice.
this is the one that keeps me grounded.
Cool. Hopefully, I will run into each other at
Absolutely, man.
C2E2.
I hope to see you. I hope to see you there.
Definitely. And then last thing I want to ask, any in stores coming up that people should know about?
Right now, we are working on the Blurred Books and Bourbon for March. Again, that the date tentatively is the second Saturday in March, but so hold out for that official announcement. We do usually have a creator in store. Sometimes we do, sometimes we don't. We like to mix it up for you guys. Um, but it will be, like I said, it'll be in March. That's a monthly, a recurring monthly event. So around the second Saturday is usually when we host those in the shop. So we're pretty good about using that media to get the word out. So just make sure you follow us. Follow us on Facebook. Follow us on the Insta everywhere.
Blerdsunderground on all the channels.
Everywhere. Yep. Yes, indeed. And the
Uh,
TikTok too. We on the TikTok now. Oh yeah. You on the
there you
TikTok too, so you can follow us there too. Okay.
All right. So friends, I'm going to put all the links in the description of the video. So definitely follow them out. Kevin, thank you very much for your time. Friends, if you're like in LaGrange and you want to hit the comic book stop, go by Blerdsunderground, man. They're going to hook you up. They'll let you know what to get. And thank you very much again for your time, Kevin. Like I said, hopefully we'll run into each other at one of these cons. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you.